Hello, update tubers, and welcome to a update video with me, BlueAnkylo. We are, it's February 2020, my timeline, not yours. Hopefully you're watching this in a similar era. And I haven't made an update video in quite a while, so I felt like it's probably about time to do one of those. In the background, you may be able to view some pre-recorded footage of a hunt in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. So if you don't want some very minor monster spoilers from that game, because you haven't played it yet, then don't look at the video. But I'm only doing this post-commentary anyway, so I'm not talking... I'm talking about something else anyway. And in case you're familiar with Monster Hunter, this is not my finest hunt. This is just some test recording that I hunted, and I recorded it to make sure I could record. I will be sort of interested in how YouTube processes this video for a variety of reasons that I don't want to get into, but we'll see how it looks on the YouTubes. But it's not about the video. We're about the update. So what's going on? It's like I said, it's been a while since I've recorded one of these. I've fallen a bit behind on some of my recording let's play sort of schedules and stream schedules. Some games I've wanted to play I haven't got around to, and some stuff I wanted to finish I haven't finished. So that's unfortunate. It was not ideal by any means, and I figure I should talk about that a little bit. Talk a little bit about some of the plans for what I'm going to try to do the next coming up month or two, and, you know, just chat with you guys a little bit. So, as usual for these update videos, there might be a little bit of rambling on, but, you know, it's for a good cause. So, first off, just to get it out of the way, of course, I do want to thank all of my, all of you guys, all YouTubers out there, the viewers, and whether you're new or old, you've been to the channel for, you know, a month or a year or however many years we've been around for. I do appreciate you guys watching, and I do feel a bit guilty when I take a break and don't record as often as I intend to or say I will, so sorry about that, but I'm trying to get into it, but it's tough. Anyway, not to ramble about that kind of stuff. But anyway, so I appreciate you guys, and I don't thank the Patreons or the YouTube members, the people who actually pay for support, but I don't put you guys on screen or talk with you guys that much. I kind of prefer to keep it on the down low, but suffice to say that I do appreciate the support, both monetary and you know, people just watch and maybe leave a comment or just like the video sometimes, or yeah, just hanging around the channel, honestly. It's all good. But anyway, you know, point is, you got to call those guys out a little bit, and that's what you get. So I do appreciate it. You don't really get a whole lot of perks for being a paid supporter, but, you know, I appreciate it nonetheless. So, that's the thank yous. So what's going on? Well, I've got couple games that are on the work. So Shining Force CD, the Shining Force CD, the Game Gear remake, that game, Shining Force Book 2, I guess it is technically, it's not forgotten. I've got some videos recorded, and I will keep that series going. That's kind of the paused one in the middle of things. We've got, let's see, I streamed Messenger. That should be starting to upload in the near future. So if you're interested in a kind of retro Metroidvania side-scrolling platformer kind of game that's really awesome, maybe give that a check. It should be uploading sometime around when this video goes live, or somewhere around there anyway. It's a really fun game. I had a good time streaming it a couple weeks back, and it's got great soundtrack. Reminds me a lot of the old NES Ninja Gaiden and Super Metroid and Castlevania type games. So anyway, it's really good, and might be your thing. Other than that, streams, let's see. I started streaming Xenogears way back in December once, and then I put it on hold while I tried to catch up on other things. So, what I want to do with Xenogears, because it's a Xenogears PlayStation 1 big JRPG, same genre of Final Fantasy 7, of course, and all that. Maybe a bit lesser known. But it's a big, complicated, awesome game, and I want to make sure I'm uploading the videos sort of as we record it. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming more or just recording it, but I don't want to get too far ahead on that one. So just for a variety of personal reasons, it's been delayed a bit, but that's a high priority for the near future. I'll probably try to get Shining Force CD getting going first, and then Xenogears as sort of the next big RPG that I sort of when I'm interested in playing RPGs, that'll be my next big one. And I have started it, so we'll keep that going. We also started streaming just to get back into a little bit of some Ace Combat 7, some Top Gunnery. They'll be showing up on YouTube, maybe less as a, episode 1, 2, 30-minute kind of video thing, more of a, let's see, maybe like a VOD, a VOD, video on demand from YouTube, where I just sort of upload the streams or sort of cut them into like hour or two sections. I don't know. I'm trying to find an easy way to do this that doesn't take a ton of my time, but also gets the videos up for you guys. Sometimes it's nice to have the sort of standard series layout where, you make a playlist of, individual 30 to 60-minute episodes, and you just, like I typically do. But that sometimes adds a bit of more work, and with streams, it doesn't always work. It doesn't always make a whole lot of sense. So we'll see how I do it, but that'll just be one of those let's stream sort of games that gets, sort of a side thing more than the big ones. And that's kind of the end of my current to-do list. I don't have a lot of, like, plans, other than, like, I've got a list on my Steam group. There's a ton of, like, retro games. Like, just, if you encompass Super Nintendo, PlayStation, old PC games, there's such a huge long list. Like, I'll never get through it all. That's kind of the problem now as a veteran Let's Players. I've got more games to cover than I'll ever have time to cover. So I've got to kind of be picky and choosy. And I tend to just default to the games that I'm currently interested in, which maybe will be Monster Hunter. We'll see. But I'm not making any promises on that at the moment. So what else was there to say? Yeah, other than that, what games are to come? I mean, there's a big enough channel that you can leave a suggestion, but because I've already got such a large list and there's lots of people, there's never any one game that will please everyone. So suffice to say, you can leave a suggestion or something you would be interested in. There's no guarantee it'll ever show up, but, feedback's okay. I'm not sure what else I would like to get to for 2020. I've been talking about getting to some La Milana for a while. Xenogears is good. I've been talking about doing Xenoblade Chronicles, or maybe Xenosaga. Those are all, like, gigantic RPGs, and I've been kind of shying away from gigantic projects, and, I don't know, 60 to 80-hour JRPGs are a pretty significant investment. It's kind of nice to do some closer to one-offs, kind of like how Ace Combat or The Messenger, I can get those streamed in, 2 or 3 stream sessions, and I don't know, it's nice sometimes to have kind of nice short projects, but yeah, there's tons of games I'd like to do, so maybe I'll try to bang off some of the easier ones, and we'll see how far Xenogears gets and stuff, big stuff like that as we go through the year. Oh, there is one other game I've been thinking of streaming a bit, or maybe Let's Playing. Probably streaming. It's good old Xenonauts. So many Xenos. I'm just all over the Xenos. But Xenonauts, rather than a JRPG, is more of your XCOM, and it's certainly not a new game. You guys, you may know of Xenonauts. We've done some streams on it a fairly long time ago. But there's a mod for it that I was playing sort of over the Christmas break called X Division. You may or may not have heard of. It's kind of like how Long War took XCOM, made it bigger and longer. X Division's similar sort of style for Xenonauts, and I had a lot of fun just playing around with it, just on solo time. So I haven't beaten it, but it goes on, and yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe a good stream game, or it's the kind of game where I could start it, we could stream, 10, 20, 30 hours, and I still would never be anywhere near the end of it, and I might just die or give up. Like, there's no guarantee we make it all the way to the end, because it's hard and it's long, and we'll just sort of play it till it's not fun anymore. So it might not be Iron Man, hardcore, BlueAnkylo. It might just be kind of a casual, just fun one, having some fun shooting some aliens and building some lasers. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. It's another, if I do commit to it, even if I don't want to play it straight to the end, it's another big, long series, basically. But this is the kind of stuff I've been thinking about. I'm always sort of looking for another XCOM-style game that would make a good for the channel. I've been watching some Phoenix Point. I'm unfortunate. I don't want to get into it. Don't want to complain about stuff too much, but I am not super impressed with Phoenix Point at this point. So pretty low odds of that showing up on the channel. It doesn't look like what I want in a XCOM game. So anyway, so that's kind of like channel video update related stuff. I guess to explain where I've been, I meant to mention this earlier, but where have I been the last month or two? Just sort of taking a break, not recording much. I didn't do any. A couple people have asked, like, Blue, you didn't do any, Christmas stream or New Year stream this year around. And yeah, no, I didn't get around to that. That's falling behind on uploads and everything. I spent a lot of the holidays just me and the wife, Miss Ankylo. She's been really sort of stressed out, overworked lately. She's got a job as a childcare manager. She's pretty high up on the chain these days, and her work has been not bad necessarily, but just very long and hectic. So she needed a vacation, and I figured we'd just spend some time together. We're pretty, like you do on the internet. We're a little bit introverted maybe, so spend their time at home just being quiet, doing our own thing. So that I kind of focused on that, and it wasn't just her. I also needed some breaks. I wouldn't say YouTube's been stressing me out, but a little bit of home life. I've mentioned earlier, maybe last year. I don't talk about my personal life a whole lot, but I think I mentioned at some point to you guys. I live in like a housing co-op. I don't know if you have them where you live, but it's just a shared sort of, you pay rent just like normal, but you have kind of a say in the running of the co-op or of the apartment. It's like an apartment complex. It's just run by the people who live there rather than a landlord. Anyway, I've been unfortunately more and more involved in the running of the place than I wanted. I'm actually on the board of directors. In fact, I am the president of the board of my co-op right now, and I'm not really happy about it, but someone had to be, and seeing as no one else wanted it, I'm it, I guess. So it's complicated, and it's hard to get into unless you're familiar with how boards of directors and volunteer housing cooperatives work. But if you know, you probably already know, and if you don't, I recommend you never look into it. But anyway, it's become a very big time sink, both in terms of like energy and like physical time. It's all good. Like, don't worry about me or nothing. Like, I'm doing all right. It's just what's happened is I found that a lot of my spare time, when I'm actually able to do personal stuff rather than like work or co-op work or spending time with the family, a lot of my sort of gaming time has been like, I just want to relax and play a game by myself without having to worry about anybody else. And like, I enjoy the YouTube hobby. Like, there's nothing, I'm not trying to down talk that. But sometimes, trying to entertain an audience, keeping on top of some of the work side of YouTube where you're like, it's not quite as simple as just playing a game and then publishing it on YouTube. There's a few more steps involved of, uploading, encoding videos, uploading them, getting it all set up nicely on YouTube, getting them released, answering comments, being, friendly and stuff with people. It's just a little bit of work. Sometimes it adds up, and I've just been like, when I want to play a game, I just want to play a game for me. So that's sort of what I've been doing the last little while, and just sort of maybe recharging a little bit, just doing what I want to do, which, it's nice. And I have had a couple fun games in the side project. Like I said, I've been playing some Xenonauts, been playing some Monster Hunter, been playing, what else did I play lately? Those two I would recommend strongly. There's something else I played recently, I forgot about it. There's something before Xenonauts. I've had like 3 or 4 sort of big games. I don't generally play the brand new games very often. Iceborne's kind of like the odd duck out right now, but anyway, without getting into all that too much, that's sort of my story. Been busy, been tired. The wife and I, we kind of have a catch, like we sort of I don't know what to call it exactly, but some language we use. We call it spoons. We heard it long time ago. And spoons are like in a unit of energy or capacity to deal with people. So we might say like, today we've only got a couple spoons, or we got lots of spoons. And the idea would be, I don't know if I've got enough spoons to go deal with so-and-so down the hall, or I don't have enough spoons to go deal with those kids at work, or I don't have enough spoons to deal with YouTube today, or, YouTube can be complicated. Most of you guys are awesome. Don't get me wrong. YouTube, our community, let's say, it's pretty good all in all, but you know how it is sometimes. Every now and then somebody shows up that one bad comment makes all the good ones just harder to see. But anyway, so we kind of have that terminology, spoon capacity for sort of mental energy. And lately we've both been quite low on it, so we've just been hanging out and just playing games myself and just doing my own thing, which, it's good. It's not good for channel, like, the YouTube business side of things. It's terrible because if you know much how YouTube works, I don't know, you guys. I don't know how much people are up to date on this stuff. I'm not even that up to date, but the YouTube algorithm doesn't favor you very much when you stop uploading videos. So new people and even subscribers, like people that have already subscribed once, if I don't sort of post daily or pretty regularly, I sort of fall even lower down on the advertising ranks. So not that it's the end of the world. I don't worry about those kinds of things too much, but there is an impact of not being consistent, not doing it. So I sometimes I feel a little bit bad. You know, I feel like I should be trying to keep my schedule going. I should be recording when I say I would record and getting the videos out. But yeah, whatever. I try not to let it get to me. So anyway, that's basically the story. I don't think there's much else to update really. You know, BlueAnkylo's good. BlueAnkylo's doing his thing. I've fallen... Okay, oh, yeah. There's one other thing. There's one other really important thing. One of the other reasons, and this is a good one. This is not even just a Blue complains about being old and busy. If you remember in the summer, I had a bit of a fundraiser for some computer upgrades, and I certainly appreciate the people who contributed a little bit of money to that. I did upgrade my CPU and motherboard and RAM and all that, and the physical upgrade went just fine, no problem there. It's kind of nice having the extra horsepower on the CPU side of things. I'll probably have to do my graphics card next year or something. There's always the next one, but I'm good for a while. So anyway, the hardware side went just fine. But because I changed CPU and I changed from Intel to AMD, so it's a pretty big shift in hardware. So of course reinstall Windows and all that, and I went from Windows 7, my old stable workhorse of many years, and I finally, I've had little test installs of Windows 10 before on laptops and work computers and stuff, but I've never made it my home operating system, and I just had a nightmare. Like, I can't remember when I installed it, like July or something in the summer. I like 6 months straight of just hell, man. Anything possible. If you see him in the comments, fella, we chat a fair bit. The fella, man, some of the stories he and I had trying to get Windows to work. Like he's my Windows 10 guru, but man, there's some weird stuff happening, and some of those live streams while I had Windows 10 on, and just getting the software. Like I had weird audio crashes, like just so many weird things. Anyway, so it was real frustrating, and that was putting a bit of a damper on the hobby, the recording and encoding and stuff, because games would crash a little bit less stable, and it wasn't the hardware as far as I could test. I stress tested my CPU, and it seemed pretty good, but Windows was being dumb, so that made things just a little bit harder to upload videos and get them all set up nicely, because I was also fighting with the operating system. So what I ended up doing over Christmas break, one of the things I did with my time off was reinstall Windows again. And nice, fresh, clean install, reformat the hard drive, and start from scratch. And this time, do better. Just somehow not break things, whatever I did last time. And the good news is, at the moment, things are better. I'm using Windows 10 with a fresh install, and the problems I was having last time haven't cropped up this time, so something I've done is working better. Now, I haven't got everything set up all the way I like it. I'm a bit of a... I think we used to call them power users back in the day. I don't know what you call them now. Probably nothing changed. But I like to tweak my system a lot. I spend a lot of time customizing how my operating system works. I don't like the default settings of Windows, so I use very few default apps. Just a simple example is I would never use Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer. I always use Firefox or something else. That's pretty standard, but that goes for like everything. Windows media players, just like practically everything software that comes with Windows I don't use. I use generally open source versions of software, VLC player, and LibreOffice, stuff like that. So anyway, it's a lot of install and setup, and I've got some pretty custom... Oh, geez, I don't know if I've ever told you guys, but I got this cool light system. So I've got some strings of colored lights, Christmas light strings, basically. And I've got them attached to what's generally called a color organ. In the past, it would be used to, like, hook up to, like, generally a piano or an organ, and have an analog output on the audio from those. And it would send voltage to different, well, in my case, 5 different... power outputs, and basically in time to the music in order of it's hard to explain over the comments here, but as the music plays different volumes at different frequencies, the 5 different lines get different voltages. So the the lights would turn on and off and flicker in different, sort of to the music. It's not like a digital system where you're programming it all ahead of time, but it's fairly simple. Anyway, point is, I've got this system, and setting up the audio output is just more complicated on Windows' part, and I end up running a bunch of fancy mixers and stuff. And this time around I used a new one. I'm using Voice Meter, just random information you don't need to know. But it's actually pretty cool. One thing that's better now than it used to be, for instance, is when I'm recording or streaming, I can have a mix of my audio, both the desktop audio and my microphone, that you hear, and a separate mix that I hear. So I can change the volumes independently, which normally you can't do. I would just hear it the same volume as I recorded, which sometimes made it so like I would hear it really loud and you would hear it quiet, or I would hear it quiet, you would hear it loud, just depending on the game and my headphone setup and all that. But now I can I can change them independently, which is better, like 100% better that way. So anyway, things like that. I'm still just kind of in the learning process, making sure I've got it set up properly. So there's still some more tweaking to do, but I was willing today and yesterday to do just a little test stream and, you know, recording today, seeing how Monster Hunter looks. Want to make sure, like, when I reinstalled Windows, like, I try to save as many settings as I can. And I'm getting pretty good exporting, importing, like, all my browser history and bookmarks, and I don't mess that up very often anymore. But I still have a hard time really saving, like, recording and streaming settings sometimes. So I get stuck, like, rebuilding my scenes and sources and encoding setup for OBS. I use Streamlabs OBS, in case you're wondering these days. Some people, you know, I used to use Fraps, or not Fraps. I used to use Fraps to record, and then Virtual Dub to edit, and things are different these days. But anyway, rambling on again. Point is, that adds another sort of delay before I'm ready to start, like, regular schedule streaming, because now I got to reset it all, test things out, make sure it's working, and, you know, not to complain, but I have found over time some parts of the YouTube Let's Play hobby have become more work difficult than they used to be when I started. Like, the software is better, but there's also, like, more steps involved nowadays for getting a video out. Even just on YouTube side, like, there's more pages on the video editor. There's more information you're supposed to add. It takes longer. Like, there's more work on like, when I first started, again, back in my day, but I didn't even have the option to upload thumbnails. So in the old days, you just recorded a video and uploaded it. And then you added thumbnails, and then you added more descriptions, and then tags, and then end screens, and then annotations, which aren't available anymore. But now you have to add, instead of annotations, those little cards, and I don't know, there's like a dozen other things. And the point is, each one of those little things is just one of those things you have to remember when you upload a video. And when you're making a series, it's a bunch of little things that all adds up. Eventually, it takes a significant amount of time, and when you're already kind of pushed for time, it's not easy. And I'm not a big enough channel to go hire a, whatever you call them, editor or something that helps do it for me. So anyway, I'm really not trying to complain. I'm just trying to sort of explain a little bit about the behind the scenes, you know. That's why you stick around. Also, I know how long this hunt takes, so I've got some air to fill while we kill a Namiel. Yeah, so new Windows 10, obviously that's fun, and it has been more successful, so it's positive, but it's been taken away from my recording availability. So I think that's mostly what I wanted to talk about. Thank, you know, the supporters. Talked a little bit about the streams. You know, I do have, if you want to support, obviously watching videos is the basic. It helps. Don't expect the ad revenue from one watch to be more than a 1/100th of a penny, so it's not really a matter of monetary support. It's more just, you know, that's why we Let's Play, is for people to watch, so that's cool. Comments are always appreciated, unless they're, I guess always isn't really the right term. Comments are typically appreciated, as long as it's a good comment and not, I don't know. I've been getting, I don't know if it's new or different, but I've been getting a fair bit of, like, backseat gaming kind of live stream chat and comments. I'm not the hugest fan of that. Like, maybe if I ask or something, but generally when I'm recording, you know, I'm just talking out the game. Sometimes I'm just asking questions to the ether. It doesn't always need someone to pull out a dictionary and correct in the comments. Again, I'm getting into complain territory, but if you're trying to be, I assume people don't mean ill. So if you're trying to be helpful, don't worry about that so much. Like, focus on something else. I don't know I don't know exactly what the best type of comment would be. Not just a pat on the back, but I guess all I'm trying to say is those ones don't come off as supportive for me. When it's like, Blue, did you know that if you hold up, down, left, right, X, Y, A, and B all together at the same time, you can unlock a secret boss? Because I probably know, especially when I'm let's playing a game that I already know pretty well, or like, I guess it's hard to explain, but like, from my perspective, a lot of my series that I've uploaded are relatively old. Like, I've been doing this for a while now. So when I get a comment from someone on a video from even a year ago, but let's say 2 or 3 years ago, I've probably learned more than when I played it, or what I could think of when I was commentating it the first time. So just because I said like, oh, I don't know how this works, doesn't mean in 3 years I haven't already figured it out. And I guess it's not the worst thing to have it corrected in the comments, but you gotta be like aware when you're leaving the comment that like I'm not an idiot generally, and I guess it's more the tone than the facts. You know, like facts are fine as long as the tone is kind of supportive or helpful, rather than like critical, like, oh, Blue, you should have known, or how come you didn't know this? Anyway, point is, comments are cool, watching videos is cool. I don't even know if subscribing makes any difference these days. Subscribe if you want, but the way YouTube works with subscriptions and notifications is a mystery. I do have, obviously, I think that's what I was trying to say. I have the Patreon if you want to support monetarily. Patreon's probably one of the better sort of percentage turnovers. Like, if you become a YouTube member, which is, I think, $5 American a month, you'll get access to some emotes at the live streams and some badges and stuff. I think YouTube keeps like 30% of that money though, so if you're trying to support me, that, you know, you sort of waste some of it. Twitch is, I don't even think I can do that on Twitch right now, but Twitch takes like 50% of them, and point is, Patreon's pretty generous. We talked about this a little bit during the summer donation event, sort of which was the most efficient way to you know, if you're trying to help somebody, right? This doesn't go just for me. Like, if you're trying to help any other budding YouTuber, the big companies always take a cut. Just don't forget. But anyway, you know, we got some Patreons, we got some YouTube members. It's all cool. I do have a Steam group. I generally leave a link to the Steam group in the video descriptions. It has things like a list of games I'd like to let's play or stream one day. I don't update it all the time, but it's, you know, it covers some of the frequently requested ones. So if you're thinking, hey, I think this channel should play this, maybe check there first, because if it's already on the list, then we've definitely talked about it, and, you know, it's already kind of I'm already kind of aware of it. Again, like I said earlier, just because I'd like to let's play a series, your series, doesn't mean I'll have the time to. It's kind of like the bane of both older gamers and older channels. I'd like to like follow up on a lot of series that I've already started. Like, I've played a lot of the Final Fantasy games, so it would make sense to play more Final Fantasy games because I've built up some audience for it. But then I've also built up an audience for XCOM games and Metroidvania games and etc, etc, etc. And okay, because I'm sort of variety of gaming, which one do I focus on? It's pretty hard. I'm sure lots of people would like to see Might Magic 6 again, or Terraria again, or whatever. Pick your favorite series and insert game there. Everyone's got their favorite, but they don't overlap as much as you'd hope. So I've got, yeah, the Steam group is a good place to check for the list. I do have a Discord server. It's not like super popular. We don't have a huge, giant community or anything, but it's not the worst place if you'd like to ask a question or chat with me. There's a few people in there that chat now and then. We talk about some things, and it's certainly got room for growth. So if you're interested in kind of a small community Discord group, it's there. You never know what it'll turn into one day, but I'm not, you know, if you've been around the channel for a while, you know that I'm not the most well, I would say social, but I'm not the most like online sort of, I don't really do a lot of multiplayer and group content in general, so Sometimes it might be a little bit hard to catch me, but, you know, those things are around. This Namiel's almost dead. I can almost stop my random rambling. Let's talk about Monster Hunter for a bit. Now that I'm done all my possible channel updates. Monster Hunter Iceborne. It's pretty cool. You can throw a rock at a monster's head and it runs into a wall and then it falls on its side. You smack it. This is a really bad hunt. If you're a Monster Hunter expert, this has been a really bad hunt for me. I haven't played much in a little while. And Zinogre, the first guy, you know, the electric wolf dude, he's definitely an endgame monster. He's not, like, impossibly hard or anything, but he's quick, and once you let him charge up, if you're not, like, playing well, he just gets worse and worse as time goes on, because he gets charged up and he goes faster and faster. So, I didn't play very well against Zinogre, and then Namiel, I've only ever fought, like, once, or maybe twice before, so this is, like, one of the new Elder Dragons. I'm really not very familiar with this one, and, so I don't know the moveset very well. I'm hitting bad spots, my sword's bouncing, taking damage in dumb spots, so it definitely was not my best hunt I've ever gone on. I mean, it's not like we died or anything, but, you know, I think it was like a over 30-minute hunt, which is pretty long for me on average. Like, I'm not trying to say I'm an amazing monster hunter, I'm just saying, generally I'm a bit better than what I'm showing on today's video. I do love those long swords though. But yeah, Monster Hunter Iceborne. If you like Monster Hunter World, you'll probably like Monster Hunter Iceborne. I was worried that it would be like really difficult and kind of throw off kind of the casual fun that I had with World, but it's not. Like in the older Monster Hunter games, Iceborne would be considered G rank, sort of the third tier, low rank, high rank, G rank. And generally in the previous games, the ones I've played anyway, G rank stuff is hard. Like it's tough. It's like Monster Hunter is traditionally not an easy game. Like probably closer to Dark Souls style difficulty than you know, Zelda, Mario difficulty. And traditionally there was no, like, generally high rank and G rank were basically multiplayer only. Like you could play multiplayer solo, but they were still scaled for a multiplayer group, a group of 4 essentially. So playing through G rank alone was quite difficult. Not impossible by any means, but you had to be really good. And if you're playing with a group, then the way the game works is 3 carts or deaths total is game over or hunt over. So you had to play with people who didn't suck, and sometimes finding a group of decent players was really the real challenge. But anyway, the point was high rank and G rank in the past were definitely not introductory level gaming. So I was a little bit worried Iceborne with Master Rank. Master Rank is this version's of G rank. Monsters are stronger and have more moves and new sets of equipment, all that. I was worried it was going to be really hard, and I would say like harder than what I wanted to just play on my own. And it didn't do that. So if you're like me, and again, I can't speak for the co-op multiplayers because I don't really play like that, but if you're like me and you just want to have some fun on your own time and you don't really want to worry about other people dying and having you game over because of that, I would say Iceborne's pretty successful. It gets a bit harder than probably the world version up to high rank, but not that much harder. And it adds enough new sort of tricks, like the ramming the monster into a wall is a new Iceborne mechanic. That's the kind of advantage that makes up for a little bit of difficulty. So anyway, it's got some cool new monsters, got some cool new moves for your weapons. This is one of those games that has a ton of replayability if you want to test out different monsters with different weapons and collect different armors. Like there's so much to do. Like this is one of those, every Monster Hunter game, I really love the series. It's one of those games that can really suck up the time, and it does that. I'm not a huge fan of the, I guess what they'd call post-game, after you beat the final boss, the big bad. Once you take them down, you kind of unlock a new area with some different mechanics. Oh look, we're done. I guess I better stop here quick. But anyway, point is I'm not a huge fan of that, although I haven't played it very much yet. It's kind of less directive. It's rather than quest to do this, quest to do that, gather this material to make a new sword. It's more you decide what to do, which sounds good, but kind of throws me off. And sometimes I'm just like killing random enemies for no purpose with no real reward, and I'm just like, what am I even doing? And then I stop playing. So I haven't really figured it out yet, but all in all, I like it, and maybe I'll share some more videos with you in the future. Unfortunately, if you want to play, like if you're interested in joining up with me on a hunt, I don't do that very often, and maybe I'll try with some future tubers one day, but that's not my main thing, and you know, it might be hard to group up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the update video. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you hopefully more consistently in the future. That's my plan. I always say it, and we'll see what happens. So, hope you've enjoyed, and have a great day. Ankylo out.